Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. How many of you are present now?
Good morning, sir.
Yes. How many of you are present? Yes, no problem. So, in continuation with the previous class, we are going to speak more about reflex. You know that in the previous class we have highlighted about reflex, definition, classification, then properties, and also examples we have given. And important question: what is a reflex? Enumerate, give the classification, enumerate the properties, and explain any two of them for long as a long essay type question, or individual property may be asked. Say what? Say for example, occlusion, subliminal fringe, radiation, fractionation. They are all for 3 months. Invariably, an integral part in the clinical examination of motor system, that is part 2, when you are going to discuss about reflex, we are going to ask the question, no doubt in that. So yes, so we have mentioned regarding various reflexes. Say you are going to demonstrate, this is one of the important reflexes you are going to demonstrate, abdominal reflex. So we have mentioned superficial reflex, abdominal reflex. You are going to apply the stroke in various regions, above the umbilicus, at the level of the umbilicus, below the level of the umbilicus. We are going to apply the stroke and seeing the response, how the linea alba is getting deviated towards the side of application of stroke. So this is an important reflex which is giving an impression about the integrity of the corticospinal tract. So this is another important entity, that is plantar reflex. Very important, plantar reflex. How we are going to apply the stroke? So you are applying the stroke on the lateral part from the highest point of the heel along the lateral border with the blunt object, application of stroke, and moving up to the base of the little toe, taking a medial turn, moving up to the base of the great toe. And what you are going to get with that particular application of the stroke is that there will be plantar flexion of the great toe, dorsiflexion of the plantar flexion of the great toe, and plantar flexion of the other toes. That is, plantar flexor response is read as a normal response. If it is plantar upgoing, so that is plantar great toe moving upwards, that is plantar extensor response, and fanning out of other toes constituting abnormal reflex, that is called as Babinski's sign. It can be normal also during deep sleep. Yes, during deep sleep, what is happening? There will be no inhibition from the upper motor neuron on the lower motor neuron, as a result of which lower motor neuron is being uninhibited, as a result of which temporarily during sleep you are going to get the reflex in the form of upgoing of the great toe and fanning out of other toes, constituting a plantar extensor response, which is read as normal. Understood? During sleep. But when it is seen, you have to think about, say in case of children, when there is no completion of the myelination of the corticospinal tract, that is 1.5 years, first 1.5 years of the life. First 1.5 years of the life, that is before corticospinal tract myelination, you are going to get this reflex as a normal reflex in young children. And invariably in elder people, when it is obtained, we say that it is in case of upper motor neuron lesion. Understood? Upper motor neuron lesion. So then you have to know about that this thing. Deep reflexes under which first one is the jaw jerk, second one is the bicep jerk, third one is the tricep jerk, fourth one is the supinatory jerk, fifth one is the knee jerk, and sixth one will be the ankle jerk. So yes, so you have to know that. So how you are going to demonstrate? So in case of biceps jerk, you are going to focus on the tendon of the biceps. You are going to have, there will be flexion of the forearm, flexion of the forearm. When you are going to strike on the tendon of the triceps, found above the olecranon process, what is happening? Contraction of the triceps, extension of the elbow or forearm. Then you are going to percuss over the tendon of the calcaneum, tendo Achilles. Tendo Achilles. What you are going to get? You are going to get plantar flexion of the foot as a response. Plantar flexion of the foot. So you have to know that there are reflexes. I will repeat this thing once again. Spinal reflexes, they form a part of automatic reactions and adjustments. They are helpful for the maintenance of the balance while standing and walking, and regulating the muscle tension, not to avoid the damage to the muscles or the insertion through Golgi tendon. And when you are going to step the foot on the nail, avoiding the painful stimulus. So yes, you are going to have the withdrawal, that is withdrawal reflex. So then you have to know that this is the biceps jerk, this is the supinatory jerk. You are going to strike on the tendon of the brachioradialis and forearm is kept in mid-prone position. What is going to happen? So you are going to have supination of the palm and flexion of the forearm at the elbow joint. What is being referred as supinatory jerk. And you are going to percuss on the tendon of the quadriceps femoris, that is ligamentum patellae, that is knee jerk. And you are going to appreciate the contraction of the quadriceps femoris, extension of the knee, constituting knee jerk elicited. This is already told, it is ankle jerk. Then you have to know about visceral reflexes. So one of the classification is under one of the classification, clinical classification, we have also mentioned that there are visceral reflexes or organic reflexes. What are visceral reflexes? Visceral reflexes are those wherein one of the components of the reflex arc is constituted by autonomic nerve. Autonomic nerve, you have to know that. So visceral reflexes, many times we ask this. This is also an important question. You remember. So pupillary light reflexes, direct and indirect, accommodation reflex, then ciliospinal reflex. They are called, there are some examples wherein they are in association with your eyes. Understood? What is direct light reflex? You are asking the individual to open the eyes. You are asking the individual to hold the head straight, look to the front, and you are going to shine the light into the eyes. One eye, opposite eye is being closed. Direct light reflex. You are asking the individual to close the opposite eye. You are shining the light in right eye. He is looking to the front. You are bringing the source of the light from the side, shining the light into the eye. And it is not very near. It is from a distance. What you have to notice, what is happening to the pupil. Pupil will show the constriction. That is light reflex direct. So where the light is being shown, SHO, WNE, SHO, N-E, shown. So yes, where it is shown, there you are going to see the pupillary constriction, direct right reflex. So you have got the optic nerve as an integral nerve involved in this. Indirect light reflex. So both the eyes are kept open and you are going to place the palm across the nose bone and preventing the allowing of light rays from one eye to the another eye, and you are shining light into right eye. You are seeing the response in the left eye. So you are going to see the response in the left eye. That is called as consensual or indirect light reflex. So yes, indirect light reflex. So this will be discussed in special sense also. Yes, you are going to have another reflex called as accommodation reflex. So you are going to bring the object. He is going to keep both the eyes open and you are going to bring the object such as tip of the index finger in front of the nose, and he is asked to fix the gaze to the tip of the index finger. What will happen? There will be convergence of the eyeball, increase in the anterior curvature of the lens, and pupillary constriction. There will be constriction of the pupil, there will be convergence of the eyeball, there will be increase in the anterior curvature of the lens. So you are going to see that is constituting accommodation reflex. Then ciliospinal reflex. He is asked to hold the book at a distance of 30 centimeter, and he is yes, light is allowed to come from behind. It can illuminate the book, and he is asked to read, holding at it at a distance of 30 centimeter. What is going to happen? You are going to see the response. What is the response? You are going to pinch the skin of the nape of the neck, say on the right side. You are going to pinch the skin of the nape of the neck, say on the right side. Response you are going to see on the same side. Pupil, what will happen? There will be dilatation of mydriasis, mydriasis, mydriasis. This is constriction, meiosis. So miosis, meiosis. So understood. This is mydriasis. Reflex dilatation of the pupil. Then oculocardiac reflex. So you are going to apply the pressure over the eyeball. You are going to see the response in the form of bradycardia. You are going to hear through the stethoscope over the apex of the heart, and what you are hearing? Heart sounds. So heart rate, count for 1 full minute. Heart rate will be reduced heart rate, bradycardia. So this is one thing. So you are going to say, number 1, you are going to have the pupillary light reflex. Shine the light in the eye. Pupillary constriction you are going to have. So this is these are all protective reflexes. Now we will move on to muscle spindle. Muscle spindles are stretch receptors embedded in the skeletal muscle. The number is variable. Small muscles of the hands and anti-gravity muscles are having more number of muscle spindles. So muscle spindle is a spindle-shaped receptor. Tapering ends are attached to endomysium of muscle. Each muscle spindle is made up of 3 to 10 muscle fibers. There are intrafusal and extrafusal muscle fibers. Intrafusal muscle fibers, so made up of 3 to 10 muscle fibers constituting intrafibril muscle fibers, which lie parallel to the extracellular extrafusal muscle fibers. These intrafusal muscle fibers do not contain actin and myosin in their central portion. which is being referred to as non-contractile portion or equatorial zone, which is also considered as sensory portion of intrafusal fiber. So depending upon arrangement of the nuclei in this portion, intrafusal fiber can be nuclear bag fiber or nuclear chain fiber, depending upon the number of the nuclei and their arrangement. Portions on either sides are called as striated poles, which are having actin and myosin. Actin and myosin. So you can see this is the arrangement you are going to have. Once again, we will talk about this innervation. Nuclear chain fibers, nuclear bag fibers. So this is chain fiber and bag fibers. Understood? Depending upon the arrangement of the nuclei. So then each spindle contains 1 to 3 nuclear bag fibers. So nuclear bag fibers in each muscle spindle, 1 to 3 number. Nuclei are congregated into expanded bag in the central portion. Diameter is double of chain fiber. Chain fiber. So you have to remember this. Each spindle contains 3 to 9 nuclear chain fibers. Nuclei are aligned throughout, and in a chain-like manner throughout the receptor area. So here they are concentrated, here they are arranged throughout. What is the nerve supply? So nerve supply is group 1. So that is central non-contractile portion of each intrafusal fiber, which is the receptor portion, supplied by 2 types of sensory fibers. One is group 1A fibers, another one is type 2 fibers. Group 1A fibers, diameter about 17 micron and the conduction velocity is about 7 to 120 meter per second, and supplying nuclear bag fibers as well as nuclear bag fibers group 1, nuclear bag fibers as well as nuclear chain fibers. Understood? And in the nuclear chain fibers, what is happening? So you have to see that they are being wound around the receptor portion, bag and chain. The portion, the group that is 1A, and it is winding around the receptor area. Understood? Receptor portion. So that's why they are called as primary sensory endings. Primary sensory endings are annulospiral endings. Then type 2 fibers. Type 2 fibers, diameter is about 8 microns, innervate receptor portion, particularly nuclear chain fibers. Nuclear chain fibers. Here, nuclear chain fibers on one side of the primary ending. So this is called as flower spray or secondary ending. And you have to know about the motor supply. What is motor supply? There are 2 different types of alpha motor fibers which supply striated poles of intrafusal fibers, which are gamma dynamic fibers, gamma static fibers. Gamma dynamic, gamma D fibers supply the striated poles of the nuclear bag fibers, which control dynamic response of the muscle spindle. Dynamic gamma static fibers or gamma S fibers supply striated poles of nuclear chain fibers. So here you can see. So yes, what is happening? Gamma motor. So you are going to have gamma motor for the dynamic response, gamma motor fiber for static response. Understood? So yes, you are going to have gamma static fibers supplying the striated poles of the nuclear chain fibers, which control static response of the muscle spindle. So you try to understand these two. What is dynamic stretch reflex? What is static stretch reflex? So yes, what is dynamic stretch reflex? How it is different from static stretch reflex? So anyhow, we have mentioned here these two things. Dynamic stretch reflex, wherein there is sudden increase in the length of the muscle spindle receptor. Length of the spindle receptor. But static stretch reflex, it is in association with slow stretching of the muscle. Then second point, under dynamic stretch reflex, stimulation of the primary endings. This is resulting in the stimulation which will continue as long as there is increase in the length of the muscle. Stimulation of the primary endings. This stimulation will continue as long as length is increasing. But in case of static stretch reflex, stimulation of both primary and secondary endings are seen. Both primary and secondary endings are seen. Then transmission. Transmission of the signals to the spinal cord to result in reflex contraction of the same muscle. Reflex contraction of the same muscle. Transmission of the signal to the appropriate part of the spinal cord and reflex contraction of the same muscle. So, say for example, knee jerk. You are applying the stroke on the tendon of the quadriceps femoris, contraction of the quadriceps femoris, extension of the knee joint or the leg. So, that is the same muscle. Understood? Here, reflex contraction of the muscle will occur as long as muscle is maintained for excessive length. As long as muscle is maintained for excessive length. Understood? So example is standing position. So in a standing position, what is happening? Gravity causing stretch of the anti-gravity muscle so that he can stand on the floor. Understood? He can stand on the floor. Now, this is the thing we have highlighted already. Static stretch reflex helps in the maintenance of the tone. Tone is the partial state of contraction of the muscle at rest. It is the partial state of contraction of the muscle at the rest. It is helping in maintenance of constant degree of muscle contraction, which is being referred to as tone. Normal tone is because of continuous discharge. So you have to know that. Continuous static receptor signal being transmitted both through primary and secondary neurons to the spinal cord, and it is going to result in the continuous command by static gamma motor neurons, resulting in development of tone. Many times it is being asked, what is tone? How it is being maintained? What is the role of spinal reflex in the maintenance of tone also? So here there are two types of stretch reflexes we have already mentioned. One is dynamic, another one is static. So dynamic, there is a change in the length of the spindle receptor, resulting in the stretching of the sensory receptor area of the muscle spindle by stretching of the muscle spindle or whole muscle, which is going to detect the change in the length, and it is transmitted through primary fiber A alpha type. A alpha type of primary fibers are being responsible for the carriage of the information. Then static, adynamic, it is continuous. It is something called as continuous information about the length of the muscle. That is not change in the length of the muscle and it is being transmitted by both primary A alpha and secondary A beta and E gamma fibers. Understood? A alpha as well as A beta and A gamma fibers. So then you have to know that there are classical spinal reflexes which can be one. Kindly understand, I am going to complicate the topic here. Stretch reflex we have already mentioned. Now we will mention about autogenic inhibition, and flexion also we have mentioned. We will highlight about this. What is stretch reflex? It is produced by activation of the muscle sphincter, contributing for maintenance of postural stability and countering sudden loads, as a result of which it can overcome the sudden loads. Autogenic inhibition. What is this? It is produced by activating Golgi tendon organs, which aids in the regulation of muscle tension and results in the prevention of the damage to the tendon as well as bone. Later we will discuss about this issue. Then flexion reflex. Flexion reflex, it is produced by activation of cutaneous pain afferents, which will avoid obstacle or pain producing entities. Withdrawal reflex. Withdrawal reflex. So yes. So you have to know about this stretch reflex, skeletal muscles to perform normally, Golgi, yes, for the muscles to perform normally, we have to have Golgi tendon organs, which are considered as proprioceptors. They are constantly providing information to the brain. What is the state of the muscle? Then muscle spindles. Muscle spindles can be, yes, stretch reflexes. Yes, they will help in the maintenance of healthy muscle tone. So you have to know the muscle fibers, extrafusal and intrafusal. Extrafusal muscle fibers are making up the bulk of the muscle, and they are innervated by alpha motor neuron. They provide force for muscle contraction. Intrafusal muscle fibers are smaller in comparison to extrafusal muscle fibers, innervated by gamma motor neurons, and they are encapsulated in sheets to form muscle spindle. They run in parallel with extrafusal muscle fibers, but not for the entire length of the muscle. They are too small to generate significant force. So you can see it. So they are striated. Every striated muscle has encapsulated muscle fibers. They are scattered throughout the muscle, called as muscle spindles. So they are called as extrafusal, intrafusal fibers. Extrafusal and intrafusal fibers. So you have to know extrafusal muscle fibers innervated by alpha motor neuron. Intrafusal are innervated by gamma motor neuron. Gamma motor neuron. Then muscle spindles are distributed throughout the muscle. They consist of small encapsulated intrafusal fibers connected in parallel way, force generating extrafusal fibers. Extrafusal fibers are force generating. They are too small. Intrafusal. Understood? Finer movement required, the greater the number of muscle spindles in a muscle. When you try to do a finer movement, we have to have more number of muscle spindles to involve. Understood? So you try to see, this is the muscle spindle, this is extrafusal. So nuclear back fibers, nuclear chain fibers. Now, types of intrafusal fibers. So we have mentioned nuclear back fibers and nuclear chain fibers, nuclear back fibers, nuclear chain fibers, nuclear back fibers. They detect the rate of change of muscle length. They are fast and they are dynamic changes innervated by group 1A afferents. So group 1A, try to remember, recall nerve physiology. Then they have got nuclei collected in the central portion, central bag like region, nuclear bag, nuclear chain. So this is nuclear chain, detect static changes in the muscle length. They are innervated by group 2 afferents, group 2 afferents, more numerous than nuclear back fibers. Their nuclei arranged in the row-like entity. So they are arranged in a row-like manner. There are, say, muscle spindles composed of 3 to 10 intrafusal muscle fibers. 3 to 10 intrafusal muscle fibers. They lack myofilaments, that is actin and myosin in the central region. They are non-contractile in nature. They are having receptive surfaces. Muscle spindles are wrapped up with two types of afferent endings. So yes, primary and secondary. Primary type 1A, secondary type 2 fibers, and they are innervated by gamma efferent fibers, that is motor fibers. Contractile muscle fibers, they are extrafusal fibers. They are innervated by alpha efferent fibers. So try to see. So here you have to see the extrafusal muscle fibers, intrafusal muscle fibers, extrafusal and intrafusal. So extrafusal alpha efferent motor fibers. Then secondary, yes, extrafusal muscle fibers are having intrafusal muscle fibers, secondary nerve endings. So these are being supplied. So you have to know about this. Then how the muscle spindle works. So muscle spindle reflexes oppose, means they are responsible for the correction. So oppose increase in the muscle length, that is the stretch. So this is by virtue of sensory information about the muscle length. Muscle is stretched, muscle spindle is also stretched, stimulating group 1A, group 2 afferent fibers. Point number 3, stimulation of group A afferents, group 1A afferents, stimulating alpha motor neurons in the spinal cord. This will be stimulating, this stimulation in turn causes contraction and shortening of the muscles. Thus, original stretch is opposed and muscle length is being maintained. Muscle length is being maintained. So, how it is going to work? So, you have to know that sensory information about the muscle length is received by group 1A and group 2A afferent fibers. And when muscle is stretched, muscle spindle is stretched, stimulating group 1A and group 2A, group 2 afferent fibers, and stimulation of group 1A afferent stimulating alpha motor neurons in the spinal cord, and which in turn causes a contraction and shortening of the muscles. The original stretch is opposed and muscle length is maintained. So yes, so operation of the muscle spindles, stretching of the muscles, activating the muscle spindle. There will be enhancement in the rate of action potentials in the muscle fibers, and there will be contracting muscle, reducing the tension in the muscle spindle, as a rate of which there will be decrease in the action potential on type 1 fibers. Type 1 fibers. Then what is stretch reflex? Whenever a muscle is stretched, excitation of the spindles causing reflexive contraction of the same muscle from which signal is originating and also are closely allied synergistic muscle. So what is that, we will tell. So when you are going to have the contraction of the biceps, there is also contraction of the brachioradialis. We will mention about this. What is the basic circuit? Proprioceptor nerve fiber, stimulating proprioceptor nerve fiber. From there to the dorsal root of the spinal cord. From there, it is going to synapse with the anterior motor neurons. From there, the information is conducted to motor nerve fibers. From there, the same muscle where the muscle spindle are originated. Information is being brought to this thing. Very simple. When you are going to strike on the tendon of the quadriceps, you are going to have the carriage of the information through 1A alpha, 1A afferent, and being brought to the appropriate part in the spinal cord, and it is being provided with the command. Command is being carried through the alpha motor neuron, being brought to the muscle spindle, quadriceps femoris. As a result of which, you are going to have, there is a stretch of the tendon. This stretch of the tendon stretching the muscle. The stretching the muscle is causing the stretching of the muscle spindle. Muscle spindle stimulated, information carried through the neuron, and you are going to have carriage of the information. So yes, you are going to have the carriage of the information from the muscle spindle to the afferent nerve, from there to the efferent nerve, and back to the same muscle which was under process of contraction. So that what is happening? Quadriceps femoris contracts. There will be extension of the leg. So yes. So you are going to have this thing. What is this? Very simple. Biceps muscle. As a result of stretch, you are going to have stretching of the muscle. So stimulus is fast stretch of the muscle. Fast stretch of the muscle. Sense organ, bicep jerk mein. So yes, muscle spindle, 1A and 2 sensory neurons are being stimulated. Primary response in the form of contraction of the biceps, and flexion of the forearm. Understood? So here, very simple, you are going to have group 1A and group 2 making monosynaptic connection, as well as there is another polysynaptic connection to other muscle that is called as brachioradialis. Later on we will highlight about this. So reflex arc, yes, what is the component? So receptor, it is the site of the stimulus. Sensory neuron which transmit the afferent impulse to the central nervous system. Integrating center, it is the monosynaptic or polysynaptic region within the central nervous system. Motor neuron, which is going to conduct the efferent impulses from integrating center to the effector. Effector is the muscle fiber or the gland that responds to efferent impulse. I had already mentioned all these things. You take it as a revision class. Yes, so you are going to have the stimulus. Stimulus is pursued through the receptor. Receptor is generating the signal. Signal is carried through the sensory nerve, and it is being brought to the spinal cord, appropriate part of the spinal cord. From the spinal cord, it is being brought to the appropriate part, that is called as integrating center. Integrating center is providing the information to be carried through the efferent nerve, that is the motor nerve. From the motor nerve, the information is being brought to the effector, that is command is being brought to the effector. Effector accordingly behaves. So yes, so you are going to have, yes, the sensory neuron detecting the stimulus. Interneuron may be excitatory or inhibitory if it is present, otherwise monosynaptic may, that will not come. Motor neuron producing the muscle contraction as a motor response. Understood? So that is number 2. So yes, other components. So yes, you have to know that. I was telling you, you are not only going to have the contraction of the biceps, also you are going to have synergistic muscle is going to have excitatory input, excitatory output, as well as through the interneuron to the triceps, you are going to have inhibitory influence. So this is something called as reciprocal inhibition. So reciprocal inhibition. What is happening at the point of stimulating the tendon? Say you are striking the tendon of the biceps. Tendon of the biceps is being stretched. It is going to stretch the biceps muscle. As a result of which muscle spindle is stimulated and information is carried through the sensory nerve to the spinal cord. This particular sensory nerve is in communication with one back to the same nerve, yes, efferent nerve, another efferent nerve, it is going to supply to a synergistic muscle, and through an interneuron, information is being carried through another motor neuron to the antagonistic muscle. As a result of it, you can see that what is happening because of this reciprocal inhibition. What is happening? This is observed in predominance. What is being observed? You are going to have contraction of the biceps, and there may be contraction of the brachioradialis also. As a result of which, you are going to have total, there will be visible flexion at the elbow joint. And to facilitate the process of contraction of the biceps, meantime, a diagonally opposite muscle, that is triceps, the activity in the triceps should be inhibited. So here, through the interneuron, inhibitory signals are being brought to the antagonistic muscle triceps. As a result of inhibitory influence on the triceps relaxes. So triceps relaxes, and there is synergistic influence on the muscle brachioradialis, which is also going to show the contraction. It is going to enhance the activity of your biceps. So this is you have to know. Yes, many times we ask this. What is what you can understand from reciprocal innervation? How it is going to happen? Understood? So yes, stretch reflex. It is one synapse. Yes, monosynaptic. When the muscle is stretched, stretching, stimulating group 1A afferent fibers, group 1A afferent fibers synapse directly on the alpha motor neurons in the spinal cord, pool of alpha motor neuron that is activated, innervating homonymous muscle, the same muscle. Stimulation of alpha motor neuron causing contraction of the same muscle which was stretched. As the muscle contracts, is shortens, decreases the stretch on the muscle spindle, returning it to its original length. At the same time, synergistic muscles are activated and antagonistic muscles are inhibited. So you have to know that. So what is happening? You are going to have activity in the muscle spindle, exciting gamma motor neurons of the muscle spindle, resulting in the stretching of the muscle and muscle to contract, stretched muscle to contract, afferent impulses from the spindle, resulting in the inhibition of the antagonistic muscle, and this is something you are going to see. So what is happening? So you are going to have opposite muscle, hamstring muscle are being inhibited, quadriceps femoris stimulated, quadriceps femur is stimulated. So you are going to have the response. So when you are going to tap on the patellar tendon, it is going to stretch the quadriceps femoris. Reflex action is being started. Quadriceps femoris contracts, synergistic antagonistic muscle, hamstring muscle relaxes, so that this process is complete. So you remember, many times it is being asked in the examination, clinical examination of the reflexes, we ask. Also in the theory paper it is being asked. So yes. So what is muscle spindle motor innervation? I had already highlighted. So gamma motor neurons innervating the poles of the fibers. So you try to see innervation. So yes, what are the functions of the gamma motor neurons? Gamma motor neurons innervating intrafusal muscle fibers. They are adjusting the sensitivity of the muscle spindle so that it will respond appropriately during the muscle contraction. So yes, adjusting the sensitivity of the muscle spindle. Then you are going to have alpha motor neuron, gamma motor neuron are co-activated so that muscle spindle remains sensitive to the changes in the muscle length during contraction. So many times it is being asked, what are the functions of the alpha motor neuron, gamma motor neuron? So innervating the intrafusal muscle fiber, adjusting the sensitivity of the muscle spindle, and gamma motor and alpha motor neurons. Alpha motor and gamma motor neurons are co-activated so that muscle spindles become sensitive to the changes in the muscle length. Understood? So you can see this diagram, try to understand. Understood? So functional significance of the gamma impact on the muscle spindle. So yes, the tension of the intrafusal fibers is maintained during active contraction when gamma motor activity is seen. This system is informed about small changes in the muscle length. Even very small changes will be recorded by this, can be informed to the higher center. Understood? Role of stretch reflex in the control of the movement. So you try to understand, stretch reflex is used by the motor system to help in the performance of a movement. During the activity generated by the motor command system, 1A fibers from muscle spindle inform motor control system about the changes in the muscle length and provide alpha motor neuron with a source of excitatory input in addition to that coming from higher centers. So during normal movement, motor command system co-activates both alpha and gamma motor neurons. This diminishes the amount of unloading that occurs during muscle contraction, allowing central nervous system to determine if its motor commands are being carried out. So you have to know that extrafusal muscle fiber, when it shortens, intrafusal muscle sarcomere, fiber sarcomere also shorten. So if two muscle fibers shorten at a same rate, then central region of the intrafusal fiber is neither compressed nor lengthened, thus keeping 1A activity at a constant level. So constant level of 1A input to the central nervous system during the movement indicates motor command is being carried out. So yes, so you have to see that the arm is commanded to a particular position. So this is the biceps. Weight is applied to the arm. So you have to see this, what is happening. So then you are going to have the weight that pushes down the arm, which stretches the muscle, and command to further contract the muscle is sent out of alpha motor neuron. Then arm is returned back to the commanded position. Understood? So you have to know that when the muscle stretch reflex are active, unexpected perturbations that can lead to stretch of any skeletal muscle will cause muscle to contract. So yes, pouring of water into the glass increases the weight, stretching the biceps muscle. What is happening? Intrafusal muscles to shorten, tendon ends of the muscle cannot move. Central portion of the intrafusal fiber lengthens. There will be stretching of the central region of the muscle fiber causing 1A activity to increase, indicating motor command is not being carried out. Central nervous system uses this information to readjust to its command to the spinal cord. Even before central nervous system responds to the information provided by 1A fibers, 1A activity is used at the spinal cord level to adjust alpha motor activity to meet the unexpected high load. Since 1A fiber synapsing on alpha motor neuron, its activity increases the excitability of the alpha motor neuron. So then increase in the excitability leading to increase in the frequency of the action potential generation and increase in the muscle force development. So you have to know that. So there is stretching and also relaxation will happen. So yes, so gamma loop. What is gamma loop? CNS is theoretically capable of initiating movements directly by stimulating just gamma motor neurons using pathway called as gamma motor loop, increasing the gamma motor activity, causing the interfusal muscle sarcomere to shorten, already mentioned, which in turn leads to stretching of the central portion of the interfusal fiber, activation of 1A fibers, firing 1A fibers causing alpha motor neuron activity to increase, which results in an increased amount of force of skeletal muscle activity. Although gamma motor loop can elicit movement on its own, it normally does not do so. Hence, however, because of co-activation, gamma loop activated doing all the movements and contributing to the excitability and firing rate of the alpha motor neuron. So this is Golgi tendon reflex. It is opposite to the stretch reflex. Contraction of the muscle activating the Golgi tendon organ. Afferent Golgi tendon neurons are stimulated. Neurons inhibit contracting muscles. Antagonistic muscles activated. Contracting muscle relaxes. Antagonistic muscle contracts. So yes, so you have to know that Golgi tendon reflex. This is inverse stretch reflex. Inverse stretch reflex. So kindly see, this is disynaptic, opposite. It is inverse of the stretch reflex and active muscle contraction stimulating Golgi tendon organs and group 1B afferent fibers to be stimulated. So you have to know this. So what is happening? One is stimulating, another is relaxing. So you are going to have relaxation. So yes, so you are going to have these interneurons inhibit alpha motor neuron and cause relaxation of the muscle that was originally contracted. At the same time, antagonistic muscles are excited. Understood? So then, so you have to know stimulus, large force, extending the muscle tendon, excited Golgi tendon is going to result in the muscle attach. So it is going to relax. So yes, the damage, what is going to happen is going to be reduced. This is called as also autogenic inhibition. So autogenic inhibition. So yes, so we already aware of this flexor reflex. Yes, it is a polysynaptic reflex. Flexion on the ipsilateral side. Yes, when painful stimulus is there, you are going to have the flexity. You are going to have flexion at the knee joint, flexion at the hip joint, so that it will be moved away from the source of the source. This is involved leg. Yes, if it is right side withdrawal. Opposite side is the extension. What is happening? There will be extension. Opposite action will be observed. So you are going to have the same thing. Say yes, when there is a painful stimulus, to the hand, hand is withdrawn from the source. Opposite hand is moved away, that is extension. This is flexion, this is extension. So you have to know that this is something called as a polysynaptic reflex. On ipsilateral side, flexion, on the opposite side, extension. This is called as cross extension reflex. Cross extension reflex. Kindly refer to the textbook as well as the slides which will be shared to you. Understood? So you have to know that this is the cross extensor reflex. Understood? So reflex occurs when you step on the sharp object. There is a rapid lifting up of affected foot on the same side with withdrawal reflex. While on the opposite side, there will be activity of the extensor muscles, so that contralateral extensor reflex is being observed. So which is going to support the weight shifted to that side. So yes, so when this part is withdrawn from the surface, whatever weight the body is having can be transmitted through one leg, other leg. Understood? Opposite leg. So remember, stretch reflex, for example, knee jerk, it is a monosynaptic reflex. So wherein muscle is stretched, afferent fiber 1A, response is contraction of the same muscle. Golgi tendon reflex, otherwise clasp knife reflex, it is comprising of two synapses and showing the response in the form of contraction of the muscle, wherein you are going to see afferent fibers 1B, relaxation of the muscle, relaxation of the muscle. So then third one, flexor, that is withdrawal reflex. After touching a painful stimulus or hot stove, after placing the foot on the thorn, or after touching the hot plate of stove. Understood? What is happening? It is a polysynaptic, more than one synapses. Stimulus is the pain. So carriage of the information occurring through afferent fibers 2, 3 and 4, and there will be on the same side flexion and on the opposite side extension. So this is going to complete extended explanation of stretch reflexes. So many times these are being asked. For majority of the students, you are all very fantastic students. Unfortunately, you are away from the campus because of Corona. So anyhow, I thank you for patient listening to the class. Understood? So this is going to complete the topic reflex. So whatever I had discussed in the previous class, it is very important. This is the extended version of previous class. Understood? So this is going to complete the topic.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So don't get confused. Open the book, try to understand, because physically if I am present, I would have explained you very clearly. Physically it is not possible to show in the meantime. Understood? No problem. No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. More? Ba. ಮುಂದೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ
ಬರ್ಬೇಕು ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಸರಿ.
Yes, thank you.